Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Prepare to have your bones chilled and your hairs raised. It's the WacArnold's Brothers podcast.
Welcome home.
Oh, the voice has changed. That was unsettling to me. Welcome, and speaking of unsettling, it's another episode of the WacArnold's Brothers.
Yeah.
This will mark
Jesus.
Episode 22.
22. It's true. It's true.
It's true. And I've been looking forward to this episode all week because, if you read the title, you know kind of what we're talking about. We're really hyper focusing on the Halloween movies, and not just like Halloween movies, like the Halloween movies, like the ones where we'll talk about, but it's just these are probably, I gotta be honest, like Michael Myers has probably got to be my favorite killer.
Okay. He's iconic.
He is. He's just as iconic as Jason or Freddy or any of them, really. Like,
right.
It's interesting to see.
Yeah, because Halloween wasn't like the first slasher movie by any means, but it's the one that is like credited with like starting off the slasher boom, where like everyone was like, oh, like we got to make a movie like this, you know what I mean? Like it really jump started that craze.
Yeah, it became like the standard, if you will.
It did. It really did.
Slasher films, but like on top of it being like a good slasher movie, it builds like there's so much about the Halloween movies, like from fucking John Carpenter's original like theme music and like the score of the first movie. Like you cannot deny that the theme song for Halloween is just, it's infectious, man.
It is. It's amazing.
Like years ago I saw that like John Carpenter was doing like a tour where he was like going from like city to city, and he would like do like, he stopped in Seattle and he did like with the Seattle Symphony. He would like he was like composing like pieces of his work, like the Halloween theme song, and like pieces of work from like The Thing and whatnot. Just live with a symphony. And I was like, that would be so fucking incredible to catch like the Halloween theme like with a full orchestra.
That would be epic.
Fucking epic. But yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff like that. But like, and we'll touch on we'll touch on most of the movies, but what I really want to focus on is the most recent Halloween movie, just in general. Halloween Kills just fucking dropped. I thought it was fucking epic.
I did too.
It was nuts.
He's like probably the most brutal, and like he's been brutal before, but like he takes it to another level in this movie, dude, for real. It's like it's the highest body count. I
couldn't believe the body count he was stacking, dude. Like and then you think about like how Halloween Kills is directly after like Halloween. So it's like it's all the same night, and so if you look at it like that, like how many people he's slain in that whole fucking timeline, it's fucking nuts.
But just like the opening sequence, that like you saw some of this in the trailers, but the opening, it's not the opening sequence, I apologize, but the sequence where he fucking just brutalizes all of the firemen like that. God, dude. Yeah, that scene's awesome, dude.
It was, man. It was fucking intense. It showed how like unstoppable Michael is.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Those guys didn't stand a chance.
no, dude, Annihilator Gator, dude, like, they fucking got stomped. And like, no hate on the firemen, man, but you can't go up against Michael Myers like that. You were just giving him weapons to use against you anyway. Like, they were all holding axes and saws and shit. And it was like, it was just basically like, which one's Michael gonna kill you with at that point?
Yeah.
Like,
Really? Yeah.
dude, I saw it, and I was joking with Nadine about this. I saw that there was this petition that had come up online somewhere that was like people really butthurt about Michael killing all those firefighters, and they're like, we want that scene taken out of the movie or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
Yeah, that's absurd.
Like, that is such a jerk off fucking thing. Like, I was like, that's absurd. And then when watching the movie and watching all those firefighters get fucking annihilated, I was like, I'm so glad that this is in the movie.
Yeah, it's great. That's just stupid. That'd be like, I work in the medical field, and I don't think that they should be in the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, dude, what the fuck?
Exactly. I was like, what the hell, man? Like, just too far, way too far.
It's a movie, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's a movie about a fucking serial murderer. Okay, like, but dude, I mean, but besides all like how intense that scene was, like, what a way to start that movie off, where it's like, holy shit, dude, you think Michael's fucking out, and then like the way he's just like pops up from the flames or whatever, you know, just like from the sidewall, was so creepy.
Yeah, it was great.
It was just sinister, man. And that's something that I got from this movie more than any of the others, I think, was that, like, and you know, it's probably on purpose. I mean, I don't know if they're gearing it towards that, but there's this real big push to like, is Michael like supernatural in any sort of fucking way? Like, how does he continue? And you think about this throughout all the other Halloween movies. Like, he gets fucking shot, he gets fucking domed, he gets fucking like he gets beat the hell up along the way. I mean, he kills a lot, but he also takes some blows.
Of course.
And it's just like, how does he just keep fucking going?
Yeah, you know? It's a good point. Yeah. You know?
But that's something that, again, that gets showcased in Halloween Kills, man.
How cool was that opening sequence? Like that, it looked like it was filmed in the 70s. Like it was cool, man. They did a really great job with that. That
like 1978 flashback,
it was fucking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool to, like, again, what I really appreciate is that with this movie, they were giving more context to just the story itself, you know. And I always, like, you get bits and pieces of it, you know, along the way, but, you know, like, that's one of the things about Michael and a lot of like these, well, some of the serial killer greats, like, or like horror movie greats, excuse me. There's a lot of mystery that you try and dig up, you know, from their background, and as
but at the same time, sometimes it's like, it's better to not know that.
Well, and that's like, you have to, like, I mean, that's just like a writing thing. It's like, you have to find a way to tastefully, like, leave like bits and pieces, like enough to keep people like wanting to like more, you know what I mean? And that's something, like, you know, I'm really curious to see like what comes,
of course,
from this movie, because like, there's so, you know, they're like as giddy as I am that they were doing some like myth building or you know, whatever in this movie, that it is sort of like, well, I feel like there's only one movie left, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how are they gonna, like, where is all of this like leading to in this one last movie?
Yeah.
And because like,
it's one of those things where this movie was supposed to come out last year, so you've been waiting forever to see Halloween Kills, and then the moment it ends, you're like, can't wait to see how this shit ends. Yeah.
Well, especially with how it ends. Shit, man.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, so I mean, there's like multiple elements to this movie that I wanted to touch on. Like, one of them was like how we kind of talked about, like, Michael is like, I feel like he's extra brutal in this movie. Like, he is like, like murdering like way more indiscriminately than
Yeah.
I feel like you've usually seen with that character.
I feel like in the original, in the first two original Halloween movies, he kind of more had like an MO, because especially in the second one, like right at the beginning, there's the scene where he sneaks into like an elderly couple's house, but doesn't kill them. He just steals their knife, and then goes next door and kills like a teenage girl. Where in the originals, his MO was more like these teenage people that like maybe reminded him of his sister or whatever.
Totally.
But you're right. Like in the newer ones, he's just like, if you're like, he's just gonna fuck up whoever.
Yeah. Which I'm not complaining necessarily about that. It was like an interesting like turn, and I just attribute it to the fact that like this dude has been, or this evil has been dwelling for fucking 40 years, you know, and so it's just like finally re-unleashing itself, you know.
Okay.
But I do think that like it did I had to scratch my head a bit on that, because I was like, this does seem like almost a little out of character, like out of that MO like you were talking about, which I don't know. I don't think it's always bad to break, but
No.
you know, it's and in the way that they've been like pulling off it, like some of his kills has been just fucking intense, man. Like there was the one with the elderly couple in this movie.
Yeah,
that was fucking savage, dude. I felt so conflicted by that. I was like, that was fucking gnarly, and then I felt so sad because I was like, would you imagine that fucking happening?
Yeah, like I said, he is so much more brutal in this movie, because I don't think before there's ever been a time where he's just like, because there's that scene where, you know, he stabbed the lady in the throat with the fucking light tube.
Yeah.
And she's on the ground, and in front of her, he just repeatedly stabs like knife after knife into her husband. I don't think I've ever seen him do anything like that. Like,
no,
it was awesome. Just like, what? I wonder what made him just like flip that switch in that moment. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
he went overkill.
That's it. It was definitely overkill. But it was like yeah, what an intense sequence though, because it was like, yeah, he like would reach over, grab another knife, stab it in there, grab another one. It was like 5 or something like that. It was at least. It was like,
yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah. But then another thing about this movie that I was particularly stoked about was like I was like, okay, Haddonfield has to like finally get their shit together. Like they all have to finally. I was like talking about it before it happened in this movie, being like, yeah, okay, like come on, they got to get like organized and like maybe just like fucking mob the dude and like take him out, you know. Like that's got to happen. And so when they started exactly, like when they started that like whole part of the plot where it was like, you know, Tommy was like going around in like trying to get people together or whatever. I was like, okay, cool. And that quickly dissolved into like what I thought was actually probably one of the most like real like terrors of the fucking movie was the whole just like the mob men like that.
Yeah.
Like
see that's
created, you know?
That's one of those things that people are like divided on right now. Like some people like that aspect of the movie and some people don't. I don't really have an opinion. I think I'm cool with it. What I'm saying is I'm not. It doesn't affect me either way. But I like what they did with some of that, because it is true, like how this character inside this movie has been terrorizing this town for so long. Like it only makes sense that something like that would happen, where his evil like goes past that to where it starts affecting other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a good little social commentary.
Well, that's what I mean. I think it was like a really, it was just like a really like well done like part of the movie, because that's sort of like I mean I feel like that's you see things like that in real life that happen, like things that are well intentioned like that dissolving into fucking chaos. And you know what was intense about that was just like I was really hoping for the survivors of you know, well, the people who went into this movie as survivors of Michael Myers, the legends, if you will,
the legacy characters.
Yeah. I was hoping that most of them would just would just make it out. I didn't think that they were all gonna get like, you know,
right.
Not, you know, it's particularly like, I mean, I particularly was like, I was waiting for that Tommy moment. Like I wanted to see him swing Huckleberry. What what was that? That was the name of it, right? The bat. It was like the Huckleberry.
Yep.
I wanted to see him swing it at Michael at some point, you know.
Dude, I wasn't okay. I didn't know how the movie was gonna end. I thought that like after that whole group of people, you know, Sheriff Brackett and everybody, I thought that after they had him on the ground and subdued, and sorry, spoiler alerts if no one's seen the movie yet, but I thought that after they had him, like the movie was going to end there, and that was going to be the cliffhanger, and it was going to be like, where does it go from here? So when he pops up and just fucking dispatches everyone there, like some people didn't like that, but I thought it was amazing. Like
I thought it was amazing too. Well, and that's what I mean, dude, where it's like that sequence, you're just like, there has to be something supernatural about this guy, dude. There has to be something. Like he was shot 4 times in the chest, and then you see like at least 5-6 people with various degrees of weapon. You're like beat the fuck out of him. Like
I wondered how they're gonna do it, because I mean, like
how do you kill Michael Myers at this point?
Right. Because as we know, and we'll touch on it, but like there's a select chunk of the Halloween movies. It's like the Cult of Thorn trilogy, which, you know, in that timeline, he's like, that explains how he may be immortal or has all these powers, you know what I mean? But in this different like timeline, it is interesting. Like, and they kind of try to touch on that in the movie, like, or allude to it, like, does he have these supernatural, like, or what, like, yeah. Because near the end, Laurie has that kind of like monologue about it.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's like, so I really wonder if that's where they're like, you know, pushing this. Is that like, are we gonna finally find out all that shit? Mm-hmm. You know, this whole like, I don't know, man. Like, again, I don't know. I feel like I've long had an affinity for the Halloween movies. I think one of the reasons why is because, like, you know, just the iconic look of Michael Myers, like so many, like Jason and Freddy, like not only did the actors nail it, did like they get the fucking like awesome kills and all this, like they nailed the look of this character, Michael Myers. Like, and you know, I always loved that, like it you know, it being just a William Shatner mask, like it, you know, and the simplicity of just the jumpsuit. I love that. You know, you find that most times when Michael Myers doesn't have his like a jumpsuit, he like purposely goes out of his way to kill somebody and get a jumpsuit
and take their he did that. I think it's in the 5th one. I heard that, like, because in the very first one, you know, in the opening sequence, he kills his sister. He's wearing that clown costume. I guess at one point they wanted to have it where he, as his adult form, he was killing in a clown costume as well. And I'm really glad that wasn't what it was, because just that. And I know they had like a lower budget for the movie, and that's why they went with what they went with. But I don't even think at the time that they thought that it would turn into what it was. But like that was just a great choice, and it you know what I mean. Definitely. It turned out really well.
Clown, man. Oh my god, that would have made the movie like an entirely. I feel like it'd give it an entirely different feel. Yeah, because that's the thing, dude. Like Michael's outfit, it's like it's simple. And a lot of times,
but effective.
It's effective. It blends. Like you have those moments where he just kind of like, especially with the white mask at times, like it just like you can't tell if he's there or if it's just like light, you know. You know, and it's just, I don't know, man. Like it's creepy, and it's just so simple. But you know, the mask has become like a whole like. You know, thing of its own almost in these movies, where it's like, you know, like in the 2018 one, they make a big deal of being like, you know, there's got to be some sort of like a connection between Michael and the mask, you know. And then, you know, he goes out of his way to like kill some people to get his fucking mask back and everything, and you know, you know, which is a classic thing, but it's just, yeah, it's
like a comfort to him, you know what I mean?
It's his Linus blanket.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your favorite like Halloween movie out of the lineup though?
That's tough to say. Like, obviously the original is like, I was one of those, I love horror, but I've never been one of those people that's owned like a lot of horror memorabilia. I don't think that necessarily, you know, there's a lot of people out there that have like this massive horror collection.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people. I don't necessarily think that you need to have a collection of something to prove you're a fan. But like years ago, like before I got into my addiction and got clean, I had like a short collection of horror movies, and one of them was the original Halloween because it's amazing. The first two are obviously great, and then as much as like they got like progressively like worse and worse, you know, like 5 and 6 are pretty bad. I still enjoy those, and I don't care what anyone says. I love Halloween H2O. I love that movie. I also absolutely love Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That's a hot take. Yeah, I love that movie.
So what like that's the, like, I mean, out of them, that's the one that like kind of goes on its own path, you know. The most, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I honestly, I can't not necessarily like knock that idea, but it was just like it always remains intriguing to me, like why it became a Halloween movie. It really could have just been like its own movie, I think, probably.
I think it would have been more successful if it would have just been its own movie. But so like what had happened is they made the first 2 movies, and John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, who were like responsible for the franchise.
Yeah.
They like, I think maybe part of it was due to, you know, they were maybe tired of working the Michael Myers story at the time, but they just like, they wanted to do it to where every movie was like an anthology. So it was a different movie, but they were stories centered around Halloween time. So that's why Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is so different, because they did that. And then, you know, I love the movie. I think it's a great movie, but because it was tied to Halloween and people were expecting one thing and they got something completely different, it just didn't do successful. And then it turns out that they actually had no interest in the franchise after that, and like sold off the franchise. And that's why with Halloween 4 Return of Michael Myers, it goes back to
wild.
Story of yeah, it is wild.
I never realized that. I mean, that is a really cool concept itself.
Yeah,
you know,
it is like
that association, that's kind of interesting, because everybody always is like, you know, and even myself, it's always like, oh, what's up with that fucking movie? It has nothing to do with Michael Myers, and, you know,
right.
When you put it in that light, it's sort of like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I mean, they were just trying something different.
They were. And
trying a different type of Halloween spooky kind of movie. Yeah.
It is one of those movies, though, that as time has passed, you know, it's gained more of like a cult following, and more people have come to appreciate it. Because it is, like I said, if it would have just been its own standalone movie, it would have been a lot more successful. But still, I love it.
Yeah. If it would have just been standalone, it definitely would have been more successful. But it's definitely,
because there's some creative shit in that movie.
Well, yeah, like what's some of your favorite elements about that movie? Like, in comparison to like the slasher style of,
right,
you know, the other Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Like, definitely. What would be your favorites?
Some of mine, honestly, I really am a sucker for. I know this is something you'll hate, but Halloween 5. I like Halloween 5.
Yeah,
like,
I do too.
It starts off at 1988, my birth year, 10 years after the original Halloween, takes place. And I don't know, it's a fairly fun sort of like redo of the Halloween, the original Halloween movie in a way. It's very similar, if you ask me. And
because this one is like the second in the Cult of Thor trilogy, but that stuff doesn't really become predominant until the sixth one. So this one is more like just a straightforward slasher.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he does some he's fairly unstoppable in this one, and all that.
Of course.
And I think oh my God, I'm blanking on the little kid's name. I just rewatched this movie, but the little girl that he's chasing, who is like his
Jamie.
niece, Jamie.
Yeah.
Her clown costume is kind of just this iconic thing, so I remember that from the first time I watched this movie.
Well, that happens at the end of the fourth one.
No, she's in the clown costume in Halloween 5, right?
No, so at the end of the fourth one is where it has that surprise shock scene. I think you might be talking about the fourth one.
Oh, I'm talking about Return of Michael Myers. Sorry.
Yeah, that one's classic. I love that movie. That's that's a fantastic movie.
And that's the one that's that's kind of that's the one that's it's essentially a very similar storyline where it's he's going after the young kid babysitter. There's
the foster sister.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that one has the shock ending at the end where it has the POV shot again, and she's wearing the clown costume, and she kills her foster mother. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of those. So, in talking about Halloween Kills earlier and how that kind of, the evil that's been terrorizing this town for so long is maybe kind of started getting to people, it's
okay.
in that movie, there's this, and they kind of make it this point of reference where it's she has this interaction with Michael's supposedly dead body or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they go and then she has that kill moment where she kills her foster mom.
It's true. That's true.
And so it's is there some sort of evil that's passed on here all of a sudden?
It's a good point.
But yeah, maybe fishing too deep. But yeah, that's what I meant was Halloween 4. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Halloween 4 is great. Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd say I'd say I can H2O for the Halloween I don't know, just the Halloween aspect of it all, but it's not my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of dug, and this is also kind of controversial, I did kind of dig first Rob Zombie Halloween movie. Okay. I didn't like the sequel.
I did too at the time, yeah.
But I also don't it was a reimagining of the story, you know, and
because it had some of those same characters that it was just different.
Yeah. And so, it doesn't really it doesn't really fit in the timeline of the Halloween, the Michael Myers tale that I really appreciate overall, which is the original kind of story arc that you get. So I don't know, but
I think that I agree with people. The worst two are Rob Zombie's Halloween for me, or Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, because it's that one
garbage. It's garbage.
So that one,
if you ask me.
I think the reason that so in the first one, there was more studio sway with the things they wanted to do. In the second one, he was given more of his own, he had way more creative control, so he was able to make a movie how he wanted to make it. And I think depending on whether or not you like the movie, it's either to the detriment or the success of that movie. But it's just so I don't like any of the white horse motif, which is what everyone rags on. As good as his first one was, the second one to me is a dud.
I agree there. And then we'll when we talk on the next podcast we're going to talk about Rob Zombie briefly at least. And but I that's a good point. He definitely, and you can see just stylistically, he definitely had more input in the second one of what exactly he wanted to do. That's a really good point. What's the other one on the bottom of your barrel?
fucking Resurrection.
I
will say this though.
I was gonna say Resurrection has gotta be.
I will say this though. I give them credit for. So I also read something where this is one of those instances where like the studio had a concept for an idea and then just slapped like a big name franchise onto it, which has happened with like the Pinhead franchise.
Yeah.
But because I really like the whole concept of, hey, like we're gonna put these kids in this house and they're gonna have everything filmed, because this is like the advent of like where social media is now. Like if they were to make that movie today, it would be like TikTok stars, you know what I mean?
Oh,
so
totally.
I think they were really ahead of their time with having it that, and where all these people could watch it online and watch these people with these like, you know, the cameras on them do it. Like that was a really cool aspect, but the movie is just awful.
Yeah. I mean, any movie that has Tyra Banks, you know, it's going to be kind of bad.
and although I do like Busta Rhymes, like it's just him thwarting off Michael Myers with Kung Fu is just God fucking damn it.
I don't know what I loved more. It's just the re-imagery of that in my head, or you using the phrase thwarting, like like Busta Rhymes, just like thwarting off. I don't know, dude.
There is one thing. The other thing I like about this movie is that I think is cool is that one of the character's name in the movie is called Deckard. He's played by this actor named Ryan Merriman, who was in like the Disney Channel movies like Luck of the Irish and Smart House. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. My God. Yeah, Resurrection is it's just like, I agree with you. I think the concept is fairly interesting and kind of innovative for the time, because it was what, 2001, 2002 probably. 2000. 2002 I think so. But it was 2002, yeah. But they also like, because at this point, you know, they retcon it in or I take that back. Okay, erase what I just said for the last 20 seconds. But what I don't like about the movie is that they fucking kill off Laurie at the beginning of the movie. Like, what was, you know what I mean? Like, after he killed her off, he should have, like, what is his motivation now? Like, I don't know. Yeah, well, I agree. It's like that becomes one of the most compelling like questions, is like, why is he, I mean, we all like understand Laurie's escaped, but you know, and like maybe that's the point of fixation, but it's like, why Laurie, you know? Like, and so like to have Jamie Lee Curtis, to have her just killed off was just like really quick, doesn't make any sense. And so like you were just saying, I think that's officially retconned, obviously, because Laurie, like, because starting with the 2018 one and Halloween Kills, and then, you know, next Halloween Ends, those are like the next movies in the line.
Yeah, because they're a direct continuation of only the first movie. So, because in the second movie, it's the one where they reveal the plot twist that they're related. So they undo that in all the new ones. It's just
that's what I was wondering. I wasn't like, for some reason I wasn't clear on that watching the 2018 one. I was like, I don't know why. I was like, so are they not related, or
no? They're not.
Like
they're not.
And so it's like they've literally made the motivation just that like, you know, she's like the most prominent person to have escaped him or something like that, theoretically,
or just someone that reminds him of his sister that he killed when he was a kid, or whatever it is. But yeah. I mean, I kind of liked the device, I guess, of her, you know, being related like somehow, but I did always think it was sort of like, I mean, I guess it's sort of an unnecessary motivator, like if as you see with these movies. But that's interesting. Because some people's complaint is like, they just liked it better when he was just this monster that was killing and no one knew what his motivation was. So some people felt like it was like a cop-out, or it was just unnecessary when they established that. But it is what it is. Like, either way, they're, you know, the movies are good for what they are.
Like literally, like all of these movies have enjoyable moments, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Resurrection has enjoyable moments, like, so it's like yeah.
And I'll watch that movie, like if I'm having like a like rewatching some of the movies, I'll watch it just because.
Oh, dude! At very least, you can like chuckle about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those. Like if thinking about like a Halloween movie that we would watch, like if any, for like our the regular episodes of the podcast, that would be it.
That would be one.
You know what I mean?
It's a good point.
Which we might have to do. But
it's a good point.
But like, and that's like that is kind of the interesting position that we find Michael in now in the movies, is like, as a viewer, do we want a full-on conclusion to the story where we learn, is he supernatural? Does he ever die? Like what, is he just evil incarnate? Like, or is he just a fucking dude who needs to be like, have his body like burned to the fucking ground or something, Like what is like, do we want that full, or do we want the mystery to remain, That's
why I'm so interested in what they're going to do in the next one. Cause like, I don't know.
I mean, stamping the title Halloween Ends. It's giving a definitive cut. Like, and that's what I was wondering. I haven't read too much into it where like, do you know if that's like the last Michael Myers movie that they're planning on like theoretically making? Or is that just
know.
like,
I've read things where they're like, they maybe like they can make some more, but I don't know.
Like, or is it just like they're trying to putting a stamp on Jamie Lee Curtis's time in the franchise?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things that's like shrouded in mystery, like, because they haven't necessarily said that this is the last movie they make, but this is the last movie in this like trilogy, because they originally signed on for like a 3-picture deal, so this is like this own trilogy, and then if they decide to continue on with like a different story or whatever, then they could do that. But
and that's what I'm intrigued by. Like, because oh god, dude, like I'm just the one, again, I want to like that last sequence like was just like, not only was it just intense, like seeing, again, spoilers if you haven't fucking seen it, I guess, if you like seeing him get up like from that beating and just start slashing people left and right, like he was in perfect fucking health, man, like, and then to have that's like probably, I'm gonna say it, probably the biggest surprise ending since Halloween 4, where it's like, Jamie killing a fucking foster parent, like him killing fucking Karen at the end of that movie was like such a shock ending to me.
It
like,
was.
I was just like, oh fuck.
And there's definitely some like where people aren't sure where they're going to go with it, or because people have said things about like, oh well, it was her being in the house that like made him come back to life, so maybe he does have this like paranormal or whatever, this so I don't know, it'll be interesting. And some people also think that maybe that was like a dream sequence, or that didn't really happen. So there's already, of course, fucking theories abounding. But
of course,
I did not see that coming. I thought that all 3 of the Strode women were like untouchable.
Dude, same. I thought like Halloween Ends was gonna like end with the 3 Strode women like beating Michael to death themselves or something,
I mean, we don't know what's in store,
we don't. So we have no idea.
She might not be dead. Like, it's just, but I did not expect that. But at the same time, it was a great way to end it. The one thing I'll say about the movie, and I'm not saying it was a bad thing, because I think I really enjoyed the movie, but I thought there was going to be more involvement from Jamie Lee Curtis's, you know what I mean?
I will say, I agree with you there.
That leads me to believe that in the next one, it's going to be her, like, because the next one, how this one was a continuation of the same night, they've already said the next one's going to be like a time jump of some length. So I think in the next one, it's going to be like her healed, like her out on her like full revenge tour to put an end to him once and all.
Dude, that's a good call. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I was sort of surprised by her role overall in this movie, because like she definitely was kind of placed on the back burner.
Yeah.
For the most of this movie.
Yeah, she was.
Which is interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, either way, I definitely recommend y'all fucking check it out. Like,
yeah,
watch the other ones in the meantime, or get to the theater and catch Halloween Kills. Like, do yourself a favor and watch Michael Myers kill somebody soon.
Yeah, it was a great. I enjoyed it, and I'm probably gonna see it again here soon because I do have Peacock, so I can watch it at home.
Nice.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was great.
Fun fact, man, dude, that movie raked in over $50 million opening weekend, which
though it had,
which means it's the biggest movie thus far to do the simultaneous like theater and the streaming opening. It's cool. Fucking incredible, dude. It's a fucking horror movie that did that. Like, that is
right.
Awesome, dude.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Like, that means that they're gonna put more money into some fucking horror movies soon.
As well they should.
Well they should. All right. Well, I think we should leave the Halloween off there. You guys watch some fucking Michael Myers, like I said earlier, man. If you want to chuckle, watch Resurrection. If you want something good, dig into the rest.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
And we got another extra episode posting this week too, so make sure you catch that later in the week if you're listening to this one now. All right. Well, we'll see you later, hot dogs.
Later.